Hello and welcome to the ServiceTracker support user video series. This video covers quotes and invoices. Hi all, so in this video we're covering quotes and invoices. The reason why we are covering both in the same video is the fact that they are very closely linked in the sense of they're in the same sort of place and you're going to be recording the same kind of information. So to access quotes and invoices, we would need to first of all find a client. So we're going to go to our outdoor adventure client, and you'll see at the top we've got quotes and invoices here, and we're going to click new quote/invoice. So we're going to create a quote first because this is generally the way you may go when before a client's contact you to actually have a contract. It may be that you're going to quote for the work first, and then we'll create the invoice on a contract. So we have got there is another video which is going to cover automatic invoices, and those we would generally be using for non-standard contracts. So so those are the ad hoc contracts, the job contracts. So for all the others, you're going to be creating invoices against those. You could be creating monthly invoices and so on and so forth. So we'll cover one of those here. So the first thing we're going to cover then is the quote. So on the main screen, we're going to click quote and continue. And then this is the quote screen. So the quote, you can do a lot more with the quote because we're going to be going through stages, and the quote stages will be managed via reports, so you can see what status a quote's at and where you're going with it. So the first thing we need to notice are the mandatory fields, so everything in red here. We can then start populating the rest. So we've know it's going to be for outdoor adventure. The account reference was going to be the external references that they may give us. So we're going to just pop one in here, and then requested by, so that's likely to be the person who's requesting it. So our contact on site is Joe Blogs, so Joe. The status is new, so as you can see we've got a few different statuses that you may be working on. So the new quote, it may be that we've got to go and do a survey, and you're going to get someone else to do a survey, or there's going to be some negotiating, and accepted or cancelled. So these things we can put in whatever you want. So we can change them to suit your process. So we're just going to stick with a new one here. You've got the date of the quote, and you've got a purchase order number. If there's going to be a purchase order number, you can pop that one in there. Then you've got some details. So we've got some instructions. So this is more of the note really. So you're going to be putting in the instructions around the quote, and if you've gone and done any surveys, you're going to put the findings of the surveys or the analysis in here. And then there's areas covered by recommendation, and then you can put recommendation if you want to put a recommendation on there. So you may have some standard ones that you want to populate in there, and then the related to is all optional, so we won't have service contract yet, we won't have schedule or visit, but you may do. It may be relating to something or other, and then once you're done, simply press save. So this has now gone and created the initial quote, the high level bit of the quote. So the next thing we're going to need to do is start populating the quote with more detail. So this is the line items. So if we click on the line items, and then you've got here, you can go new line item, edit selected, and remove selected, and this is all around the detail now on the quote. So if we select new line item, and then you get to this screen, so you can put multiple things in if you like, and this is in essence the product that we're going to look at. So I'm going to select a nice straightforward one because it's very simple on dead animal removal, and we're going to say that's one quantity of that product, and then you can add as many products as you like. Click on the next one, and then so on and so forth, but I'm just going to put the one in, so I'm going to remove that one. Okay, when you're done you press save, and now you can now start adding more information. So you can put some extra detail in the line description if you want. That's what will appear on the quote. You can put a discount if you want to apply a discount, and just press save. So as you can see, the price has now gone up because it's £50 for that line item. So again, if we click on the line item, you've got it here. So again, if you tick the box, you can then edit selected, so you may want to edit multiple, or you might want to remove the selected, so you can do it individually as well. And then if you wanted to print that, you can press the print. That will open up as a PDF, and you can print that off and send that on with the detail. So there's also a few additional things you could do here. You could put on some reoccurring information, but this one is generally for an invoice, so we're not going to worry about that one in the quote. You could put some extra information in here. You've got the notes and attachments, so it's similar to the notes and attachments on the other screen. So there's a video that I'll talk you through that, and then the history of what's happened on this specific quote. So that's how you create a quote. And if we would now go back to the outdoor adventure and look for quote 001943. And there it is, it's at the bottom. So we've now created the quote. So I've just shown you how to create a quote. The bit that we haven't spoken about is how the processes of the quote have been designed. So we've got the status, and at the moment the quote is saying new, and then you'd go through the process of changing the status into what stage you're at. So you've got your findings down here, and we were talking about a survey, so that's where we'd probably change the status to survey, and then you'd be writing more findings. Then you may come back to it and say you're negotiating, and once they're happy and the quote's been accepted, we would change the status to be accepted, and then from here we can convert that into a contract. So we'd click convert, and then we create the service contract based on that. So I'm not going to show you how to create the contract because there's a video for that, but in essence that's how we would go about creating a quote, and a quote would lead into a contract, and then a contract would lead into an invoice. So the next thing we'll look at is creating an ad hoc invoice. So you can go and watch a video for auto invoicing if you want, and that's around contract jobs, so ad hoc jobs, but those that are contracts or service contracts, we would go and create regular invoices. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So the next thing we're going to look at now is invoices, and to create an invoice it's the same sort of place that we were in with the quote. So if we go to a client, you do have the quote and invoice, the same process, or the way I'd prefer and I would suggest is that you do it via the contract that you're going to be invoicing for. So if we go on to the contract here, and you'll see under the quotes and invoices there's nothing here yet, but you can create that. So you can go new quote and invoice. We know it's going to be an invoice, so we'll ignore the drop down on the quote. So there's the invoice. We're going to put in an account reference, we're going to put in a purchase order number, we know which service contract it's relating to, and it's a new quote. So you're then going to go and select some information. So we're going to go and look at the products and price books, or the products here, and we're going to click the one we're going to select, and then we're going to put in the details. So as you can see, it's similar to as we were doing quotes. And then when it comes to save, you can then put in your discount, and you'd get a list of them if you'd selected more than one here, and then you can go save. So that's now created the invoice. So again, it's very similar to the quotes as they're on the same screen. So we can go and edit this. We can add a bit more information if we want. So we can say that it's requested by Joe. We can save that. Okay, and then you go to the line items. We can add more into it. If we want to add more, we can remove it, and then it's very much the same sort of process. So now that we've created the invoice, we can print and view it as well. As a demonstration there. So the next thing to look at is statuses. This has been designed for invoice processing. So at the moment it's new, meaning we've just created it, but we have lots of different clients that like to have different processes. So for example, we have a couple of clients that want it to be pushed into their financial system. So what we do here is they create the invoice and all the detail around it in ServiceTracker. When they're happy for the invoice to be generated, they'd come in here and they change the status. They would have a status that says push to the finance system, so it would then push it to the finance system. The records would then be locked down in ServiceTracker, and then the invoices can be pushed and generated via the finance system. Whereas others like to use the alerts, so they would have the alerts set up like you'd do if you're going on on a paperless system. So with the alert there, it could be that when a job's complete, you're sending a service report, and on the same respect, when an invoice is ready, you're sending the invoice. So again, we've got the new, so you can go and create it, amend it, change it, check it, and then you simply select the next process along the line. So in this instance, it would be invoiced, and then that would trigger the email to be automatically sent. But because this is just our development environment, we just have the simple approach, which is, well, you've got the new one. When you're happy and you want to change it and convert it, you'd simply press invoiced, and then we'd save that, and that would be invoiced in the system. And we could again set it down so the records have been locked, or you can email out the invoice or print it as well. So that's basically invoicing. As I say, if you need any help, give us a call, but see how you get on. Thank you for watching.